Oh, hi, everybody. Um, Today I'm live on my laptop computer. I made a couple videos on my phone and my iPad, but the iPad's kind of full right now. So, um, anyway, I'll get those up in a little bit. Um, I thought I'd talk about something that seems like women are more preoccupied. As a woman, I can attest to that. Um, talking about age and weight. I didn't used to talk about age and weight when I was in my 20s and slim, or in my 30s and pretty slim. You know, in my 40s, when I was not so slim, I was getting chubby. And late 30s, 40s, that's when it all comes about. Um, I had mastered my weight loss programs somewhere in my early 20s, college age, high school. I really was good at it because I was on everything. I was on drill team, swim team, musicals, everything. So if you're on everything and you're exercising all the time, then of course you are going to stay slim. And of course, I was always watching my weight, what I ate. My mom packed my lunch in high school or even in grade school. She didn't pack a lot of food. I mean, my mom was very slim. My grandma was a little more chubby. But so my mom pretty much kept me slim. And then I think I rebelled a bit about that and other things when I went into college. And, you could drive through, Jack in the Box for only $1 and get like a ton of stuff. I mean, I guess I'm that old. So now we'll talk about age. So Celery Queen here talking about age and weight. Um, does it bother you to be older or weigh, if you're not at your ideal weight or, um, we can do something about our weight pretty much. I mean, it's challenging for some people and there's a lot of factors that play into it too. It's not just, and that's, they're finding out more and more, all the doctors and research people, it's a lot of it's psychological and it is in it, but that it's all together, with the age and the weight and the whole concept and your, of course, your habits and your discipline and how many times you work out a week and what you eat and, stress level and all that can cause stuff. And stress can cause weight because sometimes, or if you're on the money stress, the cheapest food is like mac and cheese and and if you did have to go to a food pantry, they do give you healthy stuff and cans of fruits and vegetables. But then, of course, you get a lot of beans and rice, or, if you're really, or even if you're at the grocery store, just toughing it out on your own or the dollar store. A lot of sodium and sugar can cause problems as well as white flour. In moderation, all that stuff is fine, but if you have too much of it, it's going to cause a problem probably at some point. So, anyway, I hope you can see me okay on this. I realize my screen, I need to dust off my screen better, but I think my camera part is okay. It only goes through the camera. But yeah, sometimes you just have to do like this with the live stream. I have done live streams before or tape stuff out and about, but with gas prices, anyway, so I'll try to stay on the subject. So anyway, I guess, sometimes that's harder to do too if you don't have somebody to talk to you and somebody else is saying, a lot of stuff too, and then you're just listening. But do you have a problem with age and weight? I mean, does it bother you or does it not bother you? Maybe I do. And maybe sometimes, I mean, I have an issue with it. I'd almost, I'd almost think I almost wouldn't mind if somebody knew about my weight. That would be embarrassing. But then I have lost weight, like with the Beachbody infomercial, I lost 30 pounds. Or like with that, it's something you can do something about. With the age, it's not. But people guess me some when they meet me in real life or just online or whatever. some people think I'm about 20 to 25 years younger than my true age. And that's sort of is the way a lot of people in our family are. My grandmother always looked kind of young. She lived to be 99 and she acted, younger. She worked all her life. She loved work more. So work doesn't age you really. Um, I think she liked work a lot more than I do. I like certain kinds of work. Depends on or how if the work is going well or not. And it's sometimes that's all tied in together, but not necessarily. You could have setbacks, or the work might look easier from the outside. But anyway, and I'm also doing a little promo thing. I that was on my other longer video, which I probably should edit up and later on and chop it up into different parts because I went into a lot of different things about, how much the different industries I've been in have changed. The news business, the insurance business on strictly commission is not quite as hard as making money as an actor but it is in a way because with acting you only make money if you book something. A lot that goes into that. Getting the right auditions, submitting your reel, your acting reel, your headshot resume, and getting it through your agent, having them submit a lot of things, and then if casting calls you to audition, most of that's online now. Some people that live in LA or New York get to go in person still. But, it's a long process. And then you have to be chosen out of different, pictures and clips and everything to even audition. And then, so they get like thousands of thousands of submission clips to audition, requests to audition from like up to 1,000, 2,000 actors, even for one or two lines on a TV show or something like that, or a small character role, or even a commercial, But but then it's such a process, you have to go through all these hoops, and then if you are chosen to audition, you submit your tape. Your agent may or may not like your first take. You may have to redo your takes. You may have to do some other takes, whatever. I think all that's a little more challenging now because it's easier in a way because you can do it yourself and you can tape it yourself, but then you're not in the office where, of course, that's almost like doing live theater, which I've done live theater. And because you can kind of tell by the expressions on their faces if they like you or not, but then that's not necessarily a good thing either because you may not be reading their faces and you shouldn't be paying attention to that anyway. If you're on the audition, you should be totally in that character. Just, we're going with the reader, they'll have a reader there for you that may or may not be putting any emotion on it. A lot of times they just don't put anything on it, which means no emotion, anything. It's just flat. And then you bring the character to life yourself. That gives you a freedom of choice to design the character how you want, or what your conception or what you think the character should be like or is, or your interpretation of that character. So but when you're self-taping, you don't get all that, and then you're of course you're tracking down friends. I want to thank my friends that have read with me, and one's from a class, and she's read with me some. She was playing tough love with me one day when she knew I didn't have all my lines memorized, which I should, and she's right. I mean, we don't. Well, it's not like you get auditions every day, but especially if you're older or whatever, if you're out of the market or you're not in the prime market, but even people in the big markets don't audition every day. So, but anyway, but back to that, all that's tied in. I think the whole acting thing kind of tied into the age and weight. But what's really funny is when I caught the acting bug, it was about 22 years ago. I had actually considered the age and weight thing into that because even though I did all the acting in high school and musicals, and I was was really young and really cute and young and mostly slim and, just, what it had. I was in dancing recitals and musicals and, did all the stuff. And then I had a lot of jobby jobs, all kinds of jobs in the news business. And then later on as an insurance agent and all kinds of different things. But basically, when you're trying to do all that, you're like really busy and you're like jumping around a lot and you're not really worried about what people think of you because you look a lot better. And, and so that doesn't come into play either on jobs. And I'm not just talking about acting jobs. I'm talking about like work in an insurance office. Um, Even to be an agent depends on, that agency and all that. A lot of that's on strictly commission anyway. But, or even to get a teaching job or a regular office job to work in like the front office receptionist. A lot of times they want someone very young, looks someone that maybe even looks like a supermodel up in the front of a law firm or something. It's like an image thing, and they have to have the best of clothes, and they're being judged by their age and their weight and their, and especially like newscasters. I was mostly in print journalism, which is newspaper reporting, editing. But even then, you'd have to go to a lot of meetings, parties, and meet people and take pictures and, make sure everything was working. A lot of times you had to do everything yourself, take the pictures, develop the film, get all the story, tape, asked if you could tape conversations or actually just take notes or just kind of go from memory. Whatever you're doing, it's all so much is based on age or weight. And of course, getting a boyfriend too, age and weight. And actually, let me go ahead and throw income in there too, because even though, I was raised that even though I worked all my life, I always was raised kind of like, oh, well, someday maybe you'll meet a nice man, a provider man, like a dentist or doctor or attorney or, which I've dated a number of attorneys. I never really dated any doctors. I think they would have been too controlling for me. I'm not saying, well, attorneys can be, any man can be controlling, but women friends can be too. But I don't think that was it. I think it's just the way it was. And, but so many, of course, I guess the more money people make, the more they're like concerned about looks. And a lot of men are really concerned about looks. But I do believe when people fall in love, they can fall in love with someone that looks out of their stereotypical thing, So I don't know. I just feel that it just depends. But as a woman, I feel like I've been judged because I never made like a lot of money. There's men out there that really, they're looking for a woman that makes a lot of money. And I'm like, they're looking for somebody that can do everything, and it's great at housework too. I suppose I could be really good at housework if I wanted to be good at housework, or if I had the time or the energy to do housework. Now, it's a lot to do, okay? It can be a lot. And it's a challenging situation. For me, it's like right now, I don't even have a dishwasher and I have to go to a laundromat to do my laundry. And I was already challenged with housework. In fact, I'm thinking about starting a little support group for people that are challenged by housework. And I'm also going to talk to my friend Kim again to see if she wants to help me start that other support group for people that have been, fooled or not fooled. We were smart enough not to get totally lured in by the celeb imposters, mainly the Brad Pitt ones, just because he has a lot more than some of the other ones. But, there's a lot of them out there. A lot of them prey on women, and they're like leading man types, like Kevin Costner, and although Hugh Grant doesn't have very many, but Johnny Depp's got some, and all that. But we were going to start a support group for women that wasted time chatting with them. And for me, being an older single woman that, is also an actor, and right now I've got to find more work just to pay my SAG-AFTRA dues. And it's probably going to be other work, not necessarily acting work, although that'd be great if I could book an acting role and they could just take my dues out of that. But it's a lot. And then like next summer, I've got to see about renewing my insurance license. This depends on if I get like a call center job or go back and start my own little agency again, which costs money. Even if you work out of your little 400 square foot apartment, I mean, you've got to have the rating software and the E&O and all the stuff. And even the latest equipment. And then like if you go to work in an office, they have requirements too. Everything costs money nowadays. The old expression used to be to make money, you have to, you have to spend money to make money. Well, that's not necessarily true, but it is true a lot of the times. But anyway, I just thought I'd tie all that together. If like women feel like they're being judged nowadays, especially I notice younger women are expected, unless they find a really nice guy, who's really wonderful and helpful with them. But a lot of women end up, they have to do everything. They have to do all the housework. They have to work full time, take care of all the kids, make a lot of money, look like a movie star, look like a glamorous model. I mean, it's a lot of work to do all that stuff in one person. And I don't know if the men are doing all this. Now, some men are. Some men do all that, but some men don't. And of course, if the guy makes a lot of money and helps a lot, then I understand. But if he's not contributing much, unless he's like, unless he's somebody that just like makes you, totally melt, by the whole, attraction thing, and but even then, you have to watch out. You just watch out, people. So I guess I'm going to go now. We don't have anybody. This must be a bad time because people might be driving right now. It's 5:21. I probably should go walk my dog in a minute. I thought I'd just do this live stream right now just to see how everybody is. I've been going 17 minutes. Yeah, but let's do this again when I have more people on here. A lot of my people probably don't know that I'm on here because I hardly ever do live streams. Okay, so it's just not something I do a lot of. Maybe I should try to do that more. But I do think it's kind of a pain point or a sticky point or, kind of a catch-22 for a lot of women and men too, I guess. The age, the weight, and, or, how great you are as your physique. I mean, if you're disciplined on your physique to look great, I mean, I know when I have looked at my best, going to the gym a lot more and was down slim with my, stomach and, just looking the best, even depending on my age, regardless of whether I was 20, 30, 40, or 50 or 60 or whatever I was, that gives you confidence. And then, of course, you've done do your hair and makeup, like it costs money to go get your hair cut and, and all that. And if you don't have much money as you get older, like I've never had any work done. In fact, I just need to go to the dentist and save up for that. And I've never had any, people get all kinds of stuff done. Of course, with me, if I just lose like 20 pounds, I really have really good bone structure, so I look pretty slim, here, but I get a little chubby here. I need to lose a good 30 pounds, I suppose, maybe 40, I don't know. But it depends on, everybody would have a different opinion on that. So it depends on how much, if I get back into, someday if I can afford to go to a trainer or something, again, I haven't done that in years. But all that stuff kind of grates at your self-esteem, but I do believe that sometimes, and in finding the right person, not just in finding the right job, the right occupation, the right career, the right lucky breaks, regardless of what industry you're in, If you're an actor, 9 times out of 10, you probably have to have another job or business to go with it, maybe 2 or 3 jobs or businesses, to go with it. It's a lot, like being a pro-am golfer or something. But regardless, even in your non-acting jobs, you are being judged by your looks. You know, that's why a lot of models do well. They do the car shows and everything, and then. But anyway, it's. I wanted to start this out about talking about women being preoccupied with age, weight, looks, age, weight, looks, and income. But I guess men get that too. But but people want to be with somebody probably more successful than them. I guess. I mean, I'm, and then what about the people that are so successful that they have to be with somebody who's not as successful, like us or me? I'm just talking about myself, I guess. I mean, I've done okay. I've always stayed afloat in life, just barely. But I mean, I've had ups and downs where I've had been more success and then not as successful. It's all been a kind of a varying, um, you know, it's all been like on a variation cycle. But anyway, that's all. It's just something to kind of think about, though. I mean, do we live in a world where we're preoccupied with age and weight and income and looks? I guess we kind of are. It's not just Hollywood either. I really don't think it is. I mean, it is, but not. They kind of tried to quit doing that. They have a lot more roles for character people, all different sizes. They like extremes, though. Like if you're kind of in the middle, like an everyday person. Sometimes, I mean, I feel like I'm an actor that has brought a lot of life and a lot of reality or to the scene. I mean, I've been told my acting is very realistic. When I'm an actor, people feel like it's really happening. I've had people even like get really, well, they've really been taken aback by it and had to stop because I'm like so realistic when I'm acting. I think that's because because of a lot of things I've been through in life and have had to kind of work through a lot of stuff. So anyway, well, um, I guess I just saw a fly. I'm not sure if you could see it. I guess I could have that zapper. I did that little short video earlier with that zapper that my neighbor gave me when she moved. Because she could only, when she finally finished moving, she just got on the plane with her dog. So, so happy for her. She finally um, found someone that she wanted to be with, and she had known him quite some time and everything. But she's younger than me though. But I have a lot of friends who are younger than me. 10 to 20 to 30 years younger. But I have friends my age too. But I think I've finally figured out a lot of things in life, and even though I'm a lot older, I would still like to have more success in life, more personal success than the professional success. Although I'd love to have more professional success because I've never been that successful professionally. I've done okay, just okay, okie dokie, whatever. But I mean, personal success and finding the right man. I mean, if someone that I'm meant to be with. I've been back in church praying about it and praying about my work situation. But yeah, with YouTube right now, I just need like 251 more subscribers, and then I'll make a little extra money. It won't be a lot, but it would be enough to gas for my car or toilet paper or things that you don't realize that you really need. I mean, like if you work out of your place more, you'll need more toilet paper. That's another advantage of finding an office job again. But then if you drink too much water or coffee or soda or something, go to the bathroom too much, you can get in trouble at your jobs. So, but yeah, a lot of people have to do a lot of things nowadays to make ends meet. And I do think, too, that people are not as judgmental anymore about people that wear a lot of different hats with work. because a lot of people are having to do that now, or people that change their jobs and careers. I mean, I was raised in a time when people could be very judgmental about someone that couldn't seem to find the right mate, the right person, that dated a lot or did either dated a lot. I've dated a lot, and then there's times when I didn't date at all. It's like you go through cycles. Sometimes you just get burned out with all of it, and you can get burned out with jobs and careers or trying to do better in life too. But a lot of people can judge you and make you feel bad about yourself if you're not careful. So anyway, but I guess I'll just send a little heart here for everybody. I'll just send a heart out to everybody because for some reason I'm not getting anybody watching this yet. I've been on 25 minutes now. I guess I could go a few more minutes to go under 30 minutes. So, but yeah, you can't, most people are just behind the eight ball running crazy trying to do a million things, so they don't even have time to think about it. I guess I'm at an age where a lot of people are retired. I'm technically kind of that, but I've got to work more to make more money to supplement. I've just got to, but I mean, if you want to go anywhere or do anything, but that's all. It's maybe I'm the one that has too many hangups about age and weight and income and money and status, and maybe I'm too hung up about it and I've always felt insecure or like sometimes when I'm on Facebook or with it, mostly Facebook, because that's where most of your friends, family, people that you grew up with, went to high school, college with, jobs, different, various people from all, your different careers you've had or jobs or, and you can get really feeling insecure about yourself when you see a lot of your friends having lots of kids and grandkids, and it's like you feel like you got left out, like you missed the mark. But you know what? I've had a lot of fun in life. I've gone to a lot of parties, and when I had money, and I've done a lot of different things. I've done lots of work, and I helped my mom fight cancer for 11 years, and I helped my grandmother. She was sweet as could be, but she didn't like to be alone much after my grandfather passed away. And it's so funny how, and he was kind of a quiet person, but somehow, he helped her not be lonely. And they met when she was only 19. She met her first boyfriend, which was my grandfather, Frankie, when she was 19. And they got married. So they ended up being married since she lived to be almost 99. But then he died 20 years before she did, I guess. He was just a little older, but he had emphysema. He smoked a lot, see. But yeah, he was a quiet person, and he made cakes and things, and he retired a little bit early from the military and stuff. But he was a very quiet man, and he liked to go fishing and bake cakes, and they had a cat, Rocky, Tuffy. Actually, she took that other cat, when my mom and I went on a trip one time. She wanted to take care of the one cat, and then she wouldn't let me have him back. So she said, "You work too much." At the time, I did work about 80 hours a week at the newspaper office, so maybe that was for the best. But anyway, that's a whole nother story about that cat. He kind of turned on me, too. I guess he didn't want to come. She had spoiled him rotten, see, by being with him all the time. So, but anyway, yeah, I like to spoil my pets and be with them a lot. But yeah, I guess that was what we were wanting to talk about. You can kind of think about it. If you see this video late, even though it's live, it'll be in my on my channel page. What's the deal about age and weight and income and feeling less than, I guess. And the whole thing, money attracts money, which is so true. I mean, in many cases, like the story is, people think about is excuse me, I'm originally from Dallas, and everybody was always so proud of Abby Holiday. She was a very successful realtor in her day and very financially successful, worked very hard. And I have to find out more about her. She's kind of like Mary Kay Ash, very successful and everything. But Abby Holiday finally met a man that was also very successful too, see. And money does attract money. I mean, the whole thing about the Cinderella complex is has fascinated me because I think I've had a Cinderella complex in my life. I've often hoped that some man would come rescue me, you know, rescue me now, even, like help me, like move into a big house with a big kitchen and a dishwasher and a washing machine and washer dryer and a pool in the backyard and facing the ideally the ocean or lake or a river. I mean, it's like a dream. I mean, you still earn every penny, supposedly. One of my first bosses um, at the Austin Citizen, she was named Dorothy, and I used to write advertising stories for them, but also sold advertising for them. And I did a little bit of news writing for them too, but it was mostly the ad stories and everything. But this was in my 20s. And but she said, if you marry someone with money, you'll earn every penny. So, but that's okay. I mean, I would be willing to do that. I mean, if you have to like him though, and you have to be in love with him, crazy about him, and be like really attracted to them too. And that's my biggest thing. I mean, like I've met a lot of men that in the past when I was younger that I was maybe attracted to, but not as many. It like as you get older, you get more selective, which is so ridiculous because then you're not as hot and cute. I mean, when I was really hot and cute and had men literally after me all the time. I mean, a lot of us did. I mean, we all did at some point. You know, younger women just get a lot of men. I mean, back in the day, and this was back before all the crazy things, before all the pandemics and all the other things, all the different. Oh my God, it's been one thing right after another. Ever since I, was in high school, I guess, or ever since I was born. But all my life, it's like you see all this stuff, and that all deters people from meeting the right person too, because then they get into this thing online, and then they end up talking to celeb imposter. It's really not that person, um, and it's not, and then you finally have to block and report them, and it can be an addictive behavior. Even when you don't have the money for them, they never believe you. But I was researching more of it. Why do they keep uh, contacting us when they know we don't have the money for them or we're on to them? Or because they like to practice. They like to those imposters like to practice on anybody. In fact, they'll talk to anybody that will listen. So anyway, but I don't think I have anybody on here right now. So I think I'm going to go, but maybe this is interesting to somebody when they see it. Hopefully, I tried to stay on the subject, but I think a lot of people can get preoccupied with. And I know I have. I know I'm not the only person that does this. I mean, feeling less than, like about my age, weight, or income level, or whatever, success level, um, ability to, or interest in housework and making everything perfect looking. And, we live in a world where it's like everybody expects perfection. I need help to get. If some guy wants perfection out of me, if he's got enough money to help me and I'll get there. I can make things, but I've got to get some help. Can't do it all by myself, okay? So I'm going to go now because I've got the best guy in the world behind me, with Tony. He wants to go for a walk right now. He's such a sweetheart. And my cat's, here's my cat. See my cat. Let me see. Okay. Oh, you can see him now, but he's kind of sleeping. But Austin, he's Austin. See, he's sleeping, but he wants to just rest right now, but he's sleeping. But the thing of it is, with my cat, is it's too hot right now, so I have to walk him later when it's cooler. You know, he's kind of a fuss budget, but he has to go out some. You know, just because he has an indoor outdoor cat, but he likes to just go out when it's a little bit cooler. It's starting to get summertime here, so June 1st. I guess the official first day of summer is still a couple weeks away. I think it's technically June, I want to say the 17th or the 21st, but I feel like it's the first day of summer now with everything. But I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm running out of ideas too because of my life, not necessarily things to talk about. I can always find something to talk about, but about the whole age, weight, career, income thing, because after a certain time, certain jobs and careers aren't as interesting to me, although acting always is, because you're playing a lot of different characters, but it doesn't seem to be a regular source of income or regular work for most of us. But, who knows, maybe I will in the future book them. Maybe I can someday book a series regular role if they want some older grandma lady or whatever they want, So career woman, spinster or recovering party girl or whatever I am. So, as my essence, you have to sort of sometimes find roles that are more in alignment with what you really have been in real life. Although I can play all kinds of characters because a lot of times I can just, I want to say, emulate or sort of take notes from a lot of people that I've met or friends, family. I can take on, we take on their personalities, and you can kind of interact, sort of put that into your inner work as an actor for that character. But yeah, I really feel like I've just done so many jobs and careers to sort of entertain myself, thinking, okay, then finally I'll meet my Prince Charming, and but what if I fall in love with a man who's really bossy? Well, I'll have to see, because I don't like men that are really bossy because of things I went through with my dad and some other men that, it's like it's their way or the highway and all that. Although I am not a dominant person at all. I'm very sweet. I'm a go along to get along. I guess what you're really looking for in a relationship is a partnership. But I do think there's got to be a lot of interest for it to survive more than 2 or 3 years. It's got to be a lot of attraction that never goes away, a lot of chemistry, a lot of things in common, that you both like the same hobbies or interests or even career um, moves. You've got the same interests professionally or personally, or you like to do a lot of the same things. You help each other become a better version. In other words, if you are a certain way by yourself, but maybe with a certain person, you could be a better version of yourself with that person, then that would be a good match for you. But if you feel like that person is dragging you down and pulling you away from yourself and making you more unhappy than you are, like, you have to kind of make yourself happy with God's help. But if you hopefully have someone you can be friends with too, and there's just a lot of issues involved in all this. So, but yeah, that was kind of a thing that I was thinking about, and men get that too, and I think a lot of times people, marry someone they think it's gonna make them feel better about their childhood or something. It's like a lot of people have. I've researched a lot of this myself and been to counseling and books and tapes. That was my second line in college, was psychology. But I really have always been fascinated with it. But sometimes we are looking to have the happy childhood we never had, like when we were younger. Like maybe parts of it were happy, but then part of it may have been trauma or unhappiness, or you're looking for someone who is different from, maybe your parent. Maybe like in my case, it would be my dad was really tough on me, especially, and it was a tough situation for me. Um, so, and there were a lot of issues with that trauma and different stuff. So, so you're like looking for someone who's different, but then if they're too different, you don't always have that chemistry is the problem. Like then they're more just like a friend or like a milk and toast person. Um, it can be kind of a catch 22 on that too, because when I healed, I was no longer attracted to difficult men that really weren't for me. I used to be attracted to men who were very bossy, controlling, had a lot of issues. Um, and I was kind of a little bit afraid of them. And now I'm not interested in men like that. I don't want to be around someone like that. I want to be around someone humorous and fun. And, but I also have to be attracted to them. And, so once you heal, you're who you're attracted to totally changes. It totally shifts gears. You're like really wanting a whole different idea for yourself. You've got a whole different perspective. So anyway, well, I'm going to go right now. I'll be back maybe later or something, or I'll put those other videos up soon. Okay, thank you. Have a good evening.